This is Travis Wayne Goodsell, and a couple of comments this morning as I was going through my comments, plus what's going on in the news lately since yesterday with the New Zealand attack. I don't know if Mormons really realize that Mormons need to be put on the FBI terrorist watch list. And here's the video for it. Julie Orr commented, "Stop trashing the church and get a life, brother." This was on my video that I did yesterday. Breaking LDS news, LDS church caught in Utah human trafficking sting. Stop trashing the church, Julie? So you want me to stop exposing the church corruption? And you're telling me to get a life when the church's abuse against me put me in my position? So yeah, she was banned. And then another comment had to do with the church abusing an elderly person. I got guy's father or grandfather, can't remember which. And so that's not cool for the church to do. And in my reply, I ended up going off against the church. And that's why I decided on doing this video. People do not have the right to take away the rights of others. So, any religion, any ethnic group does not have the right to usurp the rights of others. Doesn't matter who. Republicans want whites to dominate over everybody, and Democrats want minorities to dominate over everybody. It's a horrible situation we're in. It's a horrible dichotomy. Let's see. Utah. Demographics. Okay, there we go. So, if you're not familiar with the white supremacist movement, they're in horrible fear that they're going to be replaced, that they're going to become extinct. The white man, extinct. And so they go around chanting, "Jews will not replace us," with their little tiki torches. Census.gov indicates that white alone in the United States of America is 76.6% of the population. So I wonder what the other percentage would be, and if it's more than 76.6%. No, right there alone. You know that all of these claims to put fear in whites is unfounded. They're nowhere near at the brink of extinction. It's absurd for them to even bring it up. So black or African American represent the next, actually no, they didn't put them in order. Hispanic or Latino are the second highest group in the United States at 18.1%. which then seems weird because you'd think 76.6% would be okay, I see what they're doing here. Apparently there are Hispanics and Latinos who are white. And so they've included a portion of the white, or the Hispanic and Latino, into that percentage. So well, that's got to be disturbing news for white supremacists. What do you mean Hispanics and Latinos are white? That can't be. They really are replacing us. All right, so white alone, not Hispanic or Latino, is 60.6%. Okay, so that makes sense with the other percentages. You can't have more than 100%. So, okay. So, only whites, not Hispanic or Latino, are 60.7%. It would have been cooler if it was 66.6%, but can't have everything we want, can we? And so Hispanic or Latino are 18.1%. Then comes Black or African American at 13.4%. And then Asian is at 5.8%. And then two or more races, so mix, is 2.7%. And then American Indian or Alaskan Native, 1.3%. And then Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander is 0.2%. So the Native Hawaiian and the Pacific Islanders should be chanting, "You will not replace us." They're on the verge of extinction, apparently. So that's horrifying. You can be a big pig too. That's Africa. But the Polynesians do a great pig roast. All right. So, Utah. What then is Utah in comparison with the national averages? 87.35 Caucasian. This is the 2019 demographics. I'm not seeing a... It's on an other channel with advertisements that pop up and mess up the... Okay. So for 2018, according to the 2019 stats that just came out, the number of whites... hold on a second. I'm gonna pause. It'll make it easier. Okay. So out of I don't show the total population in this, but white is 2,600,077 among the 3+ million population of Utah. Some other race is 150,596. Two or more races, 83,283. Asian, 67,545. Black or African American apparently has increased in number, so that's good to see. So we picked up more blacks in Utah last year, because the older stats that I was going by, it was less percentage. 33,619. That's around 1% of the white population. And then American Indian and Alaskan Native, 32,079. And then Native Hawaiian, 26,742. So apparently we've got all of the Hawaiians and Pacificers living in Utah in this nation. So don't be fooled, white supremacists. You are not being replaced. There is no threat to your existence. And those of us who are wise enough to recognize that nobody can replace you as long as you just keep breeding. If you stop breeding, well, guess what? You're going to die out. If you have a token kid and the kid becomes a female instead of a male, guess what? Your family name dies. It's that simple. That's how it works. You got to have more kids in order to secure the family name. Just like for whites, if you want to preserve the white race, get out and breed. But as you can see from the stats alone, there is no threat to white supremacy. So what about the church's involvement? Are they white supremacist? It would seem, with the population dominantly white and dominantly Mormon, that would be the case, wouldn't it? And many people have complained, why don't you let blacks in the priesthood leadership positions? Oh, we have a token black in the 70. What more do you want? We have your own ward, the Genesis group, which we made a ward after 1978 because you were finally able to have the priesthood. We're not racist, see? You have a token ward, segregated from among the white wards. But one of the other things that white supremacists use, and I had to ban a guy claiming to be a white knight, something or other. He made a comment trying to justify his position that when it comes to rights and protections, his family comes first. Now, what he meant by family was not his wife and kids or his parents if he was a teenager. No, what he meant by that was his race, his ethnic group, the white ethnic group, Caucasian. And if you're unfamiliar with United States history, the KKK in the early 1900s were promoting America first. That was code for white America first. And so when Trump gets up and says, I'm a nationalist, he means a white nationalist. Everybody was debating, oh, no, we shouldn't call Trump a Nazi sympathizer or a white supremacist or compare him to Hitler when he first took office. No, call him out. That was the error America made. They should have investigated him immediately upon interference of Russia so that we would have had an investigation before an official presidency was obtained. They should have stopped the election results. They should have held off on appointing a president until after a full investigation. That was their mistake. And maybe that was done on purpose. But during World War II, Hitler, belonging to the Socialist Party, won the election and turned the party into Nazism, fascism. So what about the Mormons? I'm gonna stop the video, put up a picture, and then continue on. Alrighty, Mormonism and the swastika. I wrote down on a note to remind myself to link you guys to his lecture on the book if you don't go to Amazon to buy the book. So during World War II, Hitler did nothing to just one religious group. Yes, the Mormons. Everybody else he persecuted, targeted, abused, except for Mormons. Now, there were a couple of Mormons in Germany, according to the author here, who spoke out against what Hitler was doing in Germany and tried to protect Jews and others from the persecution of Hitler. But then the church punished them. So that was not cool. During this time of World War II, the church, well, after World War II, but during World War II, the church did not speak out against Hitler and Nazi Germany. They were silent. And after, we had the Cold War. The communist threat. Church was all over that. We cannot allow communism to invade the world and take over. Communism will not replace us. But the reason why is because McCarthy and his anti-communism campaign had people so paranoid and freaked out that they didn't realize that their own government was communist, having socialist republic parties, that they targeted individuals who would say or support anything Russian. They helped us in World War II. And so now we're turning on them. Or they were turning on us, or who knows, it was probably a mutual thing specifically to cause the problem in the first place. But yeah, people looked to the church, said, hey, that law of consecration thing of yours, that united order, that sounds a bit communist to me. My Southern Texan accent. Texas is Travis country. And so the church was very outspoken. We are not communist. We never practice communism. We don't agree with communism. Communism sucks. Obviously, they don't use that word. But they made very clear that the church was anti-communism. But not a single thing about Nazism, nationalism, white nationalism, KKK, any of those fascists. There was a document sent by one of the presidents of the church. I think it was during the World War II. They were appealing to the government, the United States government, about the position of we don't agree with any isms. Socialism, communism, capitalism, all of that. So, but other than that one letter that was sent to the government, not announced in the pulpit of conference, I've not seen any official statement by the church condemning specifically white nationalism, white supremacy. And so, yeah, the church has never put in another ethnic group into the presidency of the church. But Uchtdorf, oh, whoops. Yeah, a German white guy who still, despite his history, being a baby, a child, at the end of World War II, could not come out and denounce the name Hitler, denounce the group Nazism. He just says, oh yeah, that thing that happened back then, bad. It's important to denounce corruption, to denounce evil, to denounce abuse, directly and specifically. It is inappropriate to just brush it aside, to say, oh, well, we denounce all forms of hatred. Specifically name it, church. When the bishop got caught for sex trafficking, the church's statement came out and said, oh, we disapprove of any member and local leader doing this. They missed a group in the church, that of the higher leadership. And so, yeah, with the most recent additions, the Brazilian, Ulysses S. Soares, he must be one of those Latino Latino whites. No, he was specifically brought in because of what he did for work in Brazil. And he was put right to work for the church doing that very same thing. And then the church got caught in May of 2018. They were laundering money. But we don't know who was laundering the money. So we don't know if it is laundering money because the church doesn't need to reveal who gave them the money. But right after they announce, hey, we're working with Russia to get a temple there, and then it's found out they're laundering money. And you do know that Putin's not communist, right? He's fascist. So if you're thinking that, whoops. If you're thinking that, you know, we're supporting communism, no. We're supporting fascism in Russia. So, not good. Hold on a second. I gotta pause. Okay. And so Mormons don't realize that what's going on. There's segregation here in Utah. Blacks have their own church, separate from the white churches. They call it the Genesis Group. It was organized before 1978, and that's why it's called group rather than ward. It's now officially a ward because after 78, blacks were allowed the priesthood and then can conduct business, preside over a congregation. So now we have a token black ward, just like we have token Spanish wards, token Korean wards, token Polynesian wards, token deaf wards, token poor wards, token singles wards. This is segregation, people. And so then the church makes it worse. Because remember how white supremacists talk about family first? What's the church's motto? Family first. That's right. The church has been putting out the code to white people everywhere. That family comes first. White family comes first. So yeah, you can be of another ethnic group, join the church, because you're required to pay tithing in order to be a member. In order to go to the temple, you have to pay your dues, just like a white mafia crime boss going around collecting dues from the local businesses each and every month. And so genealogy, what was intended to be a welding link back to Adam, is now a white support group. My family first. This is my white family. Now they have Family Discovery Day. It just happened last month. I went to Elko's to do a book signing during the flood. And so, yeah, I was starting to warn Mormon members about their corruption. I hadn't fully realized that it was a result of the church's corruption. So, yeah. And it's bad and it's ugly and it's deep rooted. So at the member level, the members may not recognize it. They may not recognize the code when the president and the leaders of the church, the prophets, get up and announce family first. And I don't, because the reason why I don't think the members caught on fully is because with can't remember his first name, President Davidson, when he was made the new Elders Quorum president in the ward before I got booted out by Bishop Reed Hammond, he tried to emphasize in our first meeting, where I remained as secretary, that families comes first. Don't think that you have to make it to these meetings to care for the families in the ward. Your family comes first. And of course, there's always those Mormons who take advantage of that. Oh, sorry, I can't go to church today. Family matter. Family first, you know. So at the Mormon level, the member level, it's an excuse to get out of church. But at the leadership level, they're sending out the code. They're sending out the message. White families come first in the Mormon church. And if you're born and raised white, you don't recognize it, especially when you live in Utah, where everybody's white. Only 33,000 are now black. And then at least you can say, I have a token friend. I'm not racist. So that's the Mormon white supremacy, the racism that I've been talking about in my other videos. So yeah, it's not just racism. Racism is originating from a white supremacist background. Alrighty, that's it for this video.